The football freshers are back again, and I'm here again with my co-host Safan Ahmed. And today
Yeah,
we'll again cover it's a weekly recap of the Barclays Premier League, the best league in the world. And as same as last week, what we'll do is we'll go through the Big Six, and we'll also cover some games, some standout games from the other 14 teams. But to kick things off, on Saturday there was a game between Leicester City and Arsenal where it's looking like Mikel Arteta is actually doing bits and trusting the process was good. What did you make of that game, Safin?
no, well, I think it was a fantastic game for Arsenal. Arsenal and Man City at the moment are the only two teams in the Premier League that has a 100% winning rate at the moment.
Oh,
So,
spoiler
but I
alert,
think
spoiler alert, spoiler
spoiler alert, spoiler
alert.
alert. But I think overall, Arsenal they played a very very good game. However, the defense is questionable, isn't it? They conceded two goals against Leicester City, where one of the goal was an own goal from Saliba, the man that
Mm,
we were talking about highly last week. So maybe in the Premier League, lack of experience in there with the Premier League could be the reason why he was feeling under pressure now. In the next couple of games. But I think overall from Arsenal was a very very good game.
okay.
Gabriel Jesus having two good goals. The first goal was a tight angle, but overall it was a good goal. He could have had more though. He could have had more. He
You
could have scored
reckon?
4 goals. Yes, he
Do
had
you
some
think?
clear cut chances. I think at the end of the game, he was frustrated that he did not get his hat trick because he was taken off around the 80th minute. But yeah, I think overall is a top performance from him. 2 goals, 2 assists in the game. Perhaps moving away from Man City might have been the best option for him.
Here's a question for you. Do you think the addition of Gabriel Jesus has made Arsenal maybe a title challenger? Not saying a title winner, but is he enough to propel them to a title challenge? Or is their squad too thin? Because what we're forgetting here is Arsenal have to deal with Europa League this season, something that they didn't have to deal with at all last season. So do you think that will have an impact on their season?
For sure, for sure. Will definitely have an impact as they have to play more games. Also, another thing you have to consider is Arsenal. They made some amazing signing this season. However, they're
Mm-hmm.
still a very young team. They lacking depth, in my opinion. There's still a lot of improvement they can do. Yes, this summer they strengthened some positions. However, there's still quite a lot to do in order to create more depth because they're not playing Champions League football just as of yet. They're playing Europa League football as of now. So in the future, I wouldn't consider them title contender just as of yet. But is looking promising for
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta, and I must say I'm very surprised the board backed him so much this summer, given what happened last summer,
I
how
think
badly ended up with last
I
summer.
think they're definitely heading in the right direction, but I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying they're title challengers, but we're only 2 games in, and there's so much football to play, and we can't be disregarding teams like Liverpool and other teams have not had the best starts. But I do think Arsenal are heading in the right direction. In the right direction, I do think they will be challenging for the top four. I can't guarantee that they will get it because once the Europa League games start, it will definitely impede their season. But it is a very positive start, and you know what? Big
Yeah, we'll
props
take
to Mikel Arteta, man. Good signings,
we'll
and they're
we'll
all
take
turning
it
up.
exactly. We'll take it game by game and see what happens. This is week 2 done, so yeah,
We'll
let's
see.
move on. Let's
So
move on. But
that's us done with Arsenal. The next game that
yeah,
we'll cover is just a brief one because it's just a typical Man City demolishing of a lower team, and that is Bournemouth here. They won 4-0, and the standout player in this game was Kevin De Bruyne. Oh my, what a player! Best player in the Premier League, maybe. What do you think?
perhaps I think definitely one of the best is up there. I like to think that with him, like there are a couple of Belgian players that I regard them very highly in the Premier League, like Eden Hazard, of course, can't be, yeah, we cannot mention him here.
Of course.
Company, Kevin De Bruyne, the
You think
all
he's one of the
quality.
greats? You think he's one of the
I
greats
honestly think they're one of the
already?
great players here in
If
the
he was to
Premier League.
retire today, where would you rank him as a Premier League midfielder? Would you put him in your top 10 of all time? Premier League. If he was to retire literally today, where would you rank him?
he'll be ranked quite highly in the Premier League. In the Premier League, he done a lot. A lot of goals, a lot of assists. I think yes, for sure in the top 10, for sure. Like I think you can put him on the same bracket as all the famous
Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard,
exactly.
Frank
Frank
Lampard.
Lampard, exactly.
That's
I
a
think he's in that
high,
bracket. I think he's in
big
that bracket.
praise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but other than that, it was a very typical City win, 4-0 clean
Absolutely,
sheet.
absolutely.
They've had a perfect start to the season.
The only thing in the game that was missing out, I think, is getting Haaland involved. Yes, Haaland, although he did the assist for the first goal of Gundogan, however, Haaland was struggling.
From what
to get in.
I saw, he only had about 8 touches in the game, which is concerning for a player playing for Man City, because they had so much possession. Sorry. So, but again, early days, easy win, nothing to really even talk about, really, just a typical City win. So what we'll do is we'll swiftly move on to the next game, which is the humiliation of my beloved team. Will not be going here anytime soon. Maybe if we're in the Europa League, but even that is a stretch. But what can I say? Errors all around, defensively, shambles. Everything about the team right now is disjointed. Ronaldo's unhappy. People are saying, I'm hearing news that United might terminate his contract because of how unhappy he is and how ungrateful he is for what he's getting paid. I saw that somewhere, not sure how true that is, but it's causing a big turmoil in the club, and it's not really helping the manager. The manager can only deal with what he's got given to him. And yeah, he made signings, and yeah, okay, Martinez might not be the tallest centre back, but it's really shocking to see, man. And people like De Gea, instead of them standing up and making a difference, they're making errors. And I get that, like, he's been a great servant to us for the last God knows how many years, but it's really shocking to see, man. And it's becoming a regularity, a frequent thing for him. So I don't know, man. This club is going nowhere as of right now, and the only thing that
De Gea can be pointed out for the first 2 goals that United conceded.
Of course.
The first goal, save, could have done much better there. And the second
a Sunday league keeper would have saved. I would have saved that, and I'm a fat fuck.
And also the second goal as well. That pass to Eriksen maybe not be the best option out there. But I think overall, United, I think they were lacking confidence, especially after they concede. I think that's one thing that I've seen between the first game and the second game. As soon as they concede, the confidence just goes.
I think one thing that we took for granted under Oli was the strong mentality that we had when we went down. It looks like ever since Oli left, when we go down a goal, we're going to go down a second goal, then a third goal, and so on. There's no we just don't stand up and try to make a comeback. It looks like just heads drop, like you said, and it happened again on Saturday. And it's looking like a long season for United, and it might be one of the worst seasons we would have ever done. But I'm still hopeful. If you make maybe some crucial signings, maybe a DM before the end of the window, and hopefully.
But my question is, who wants to come to United given the current situation? It's very hard to sign players. I don't think that money can buy players out in this current position. I think United are.
I think we're kind of I don't know. Maybe we're over dramatizing. I don't know if that's the word. Being over dramatic here, basically, because it's only 2 games in. We're still a very attractive prospect. We can give them a lot of money, and we're Man United at the end of the day. We're still playing in Europe. I know it's Europa League, but it's not the end of the world. I still think the Ten Hag project will be a success. Early days now, it's not started off well, but I feel like patience is key here, and there's not much to say right now. I feel like the first season I always expected to be one where it'll be full of ups and downs, more downs than ups, but long term, hopefully, he will stick and bring some success. But that's it for the United game. Man.
No,
I don't know what else to say.
Hold on. I completely disagree with every single thing you said there. I don't think so. It's a work in progress. I don't think so. It's a work in progress. You have an owner that does not back the club. Your owner, correct me if I'm wrong, took out 150 million last season
dividends. Yes, but
so.
They have
clubs usually invest, they invest into players. They have not injected their own money into the club. They do not back the club as the other
but
top six
it's
clubs
been the
back them.
case. It's been the case
Then
for
hold on,
a long time.
and then so where are you buying the players from? You're buying the players from the money generated by this
by the own
big
club.
club that United is. The amount of number of shirts they sell, all the sponsorships and everything around that, absolutely fine. But then every time you go buy a place, you pay such a huge fee, but the player has such a big miss. For example, Sancho, Maguire, Fred, Pogba, that left
To be
you
honest with you,
for
at
free.
this point, like you said, owners need to change, but what are the chances of that? It really is impossible. So
And
you
then
have to.
exactly, and then also come to this season as well. This season, Ten Hag, the new manager came through. So as you have a new sporting director that should help support the manager, back the manager with the signing that they want. De Long, how long has it been with
I
Manchester,
think
with
with the
Barcelona?
situation, it's more complicated than just United going after him. He's being pinned down by Barcelona. There's a lot.
Right,
There's
that's
the
fine.
complication. There's so many complications in that deal, so you can't really put it down to just
All right.
United being
Fair
incompetent.
enough.
But at the same time, I get where you're coming from. The Ten Hag was promised like 5 or 6 signings. He was promised to splash cash. Yet this season we've only had a net spend of 50 million.
Exactly.
And I get that, and there are lower, like they're literally teams fighting relegation or spend more than us. And for a club as rich as United, and for a club who generates as much as we do, it's just disgraceful. But you know what? Fans are acting up. They're gonna hold protests in the Liverpool game. Then some might not attend. There might be NPCs, so that could make a difference. But at the end of the day, like you said, I'm being optimistic when I say it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's not a work in progress until the owners are replaced, but that might take longer than we expect. But
absolutely fine. Last question before we move on from United. So next Monday, we have the United vs Liverpool. So what's your prediction for that one? How do you see that going with a Liverpool team that is struggling at the moment without getting a win in the first 2 games?
Spoiler alert.
Again, sorry guys. But
No
how do you see that going?
To be honest with you, I do not have faith in my team in the slightest, and I can see it being a Liverpool win.
Keep in mind that Nunez is out with a red card.
I think they have enough quality to penetrate our defense. Our defense right now is complete and utter shambles. And I just don't see United keeping a clean sheet, and we're not good in offensively either. So I can see it being a 2-0 win for Liverpool. I have no hope, if I'm being honest. And I hope I do jinx it and we win. But it's just, to be honest with you, I just don't see us scoring. And I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. So how can you tell me we have a chance of winning? I can't tell myself, because I know I'd be lying to myself from what I've seen in the first 2 games. But it's football. Anything could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if United somehow get a 2-1 win. But that's just like, the odds of that is very low. But enough of United game. Let's just move on to a more exciting game, a more even game, some might say. Not really even, because one team dominated and they were completely wronged by the referee. Well, I'll hand it over to you because it's your beloved Chelsea. How did you find the game? What was your reaction?
Honestly, I couldn't be proud of my club anymore. I'm very happy of how the game went. Again, I was here last week complaining about how badly we played the second half, especially against Everton. Whereas this week around, we completely turned over and we played some amazing football in the first half. Especially Spurs had no chance to escape our pressure. The way that we run for the ball, the way that we pressurize them in their own half, we basically give no room for them, and we neutralized all the attacking
Where did this come from? Where does all this intensity come from? Because against Everton, it was very lackluster, and the intensity that you showed in this game was, I was like, where was this against Everton? Why?
I think.
Do you think it's the occasion because it's a London derby and it's Tottenham, so the players were really up for it? What do you think it is?
I think partially that has an effect because we're playing Tottenham and there's a big reputation at stake. So of course there's an extra bit of motivation from there, but as well as that, the new signings are pumping and a good energy in the team as well. Cucurella, Koulibaly, Sterling for me was not as he didn't play as well as he should have.
Mhm.
But then
Got an assist
overall,
though.
he got an assist. He was playing as a false nine, so might not have been involved in the game as much as I wanted him to. But I think overall the team was full of energy. Very, very good game. Unfortunately, a couple of unfair decisions completely changed the game for us. For example, in the first goal, you know what? It's been a couple of days now, so I can accept the first goal. All right. There's been a
Okay.
clear foul on Kai Havertz, but then 45, 47 minutes, 45,
But
47
yeah,
seconds passed away. We got possession back, then we lost possession, then Tottenham scored. So fair enough. I can see that happening, why the first goal stand. But the second
but
goal is absolute disgrace.
but do you still think it was in the same phase of play and it should have been looked at? Because I've seen occasions where VAR goes as far back as like 100 seconds, because
I mean,
they are quite it's quite inconsistent is the word here, because sometimes they go as far as back as 100 seconds, and sometimes if it's as far back as 40 seconds, they're like, nah, it's a different phase of play, which I don't get. Where's the consistency? Where's the rule?
exactly. I think that's something that VR is missing, is lacking. That's consistency. But however, I can see why the goal stands. But then then there's another thing that happened during the first goal that we conceded, which was Richarlison. He was in an offside position and he was blocking the view for Mendy. So Mendy had an obstruct view of Richarlison covering the shot, so he couldn't react on time to try to save the goal. But as I said, I can accept that. However, but the second goal that we conceded, there was a clear foul in the build-up from the previous corner where Cucurella had got pulled on by Romero, and I think that's absolutely disgraceful. How Anthony Taylor did not see it, I don't understand.
Did you see? Did you see the petition?
Understandable, he might not have seen it, but then VR, come on. VR still did nothing, so that's why my disappointment stand here. Anthony Taylor, yes, he's a human being. At the end of the day, he can make mistakes, but this is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. This is game after game after game where he refereed the game against us. A lot of things went against us, and I just don't see it. I think he has a personal vendetta against Chelsea. That's the way that I see it. There's been a petition going around to get him to ban him from refereeing
and
Chelsea's game.
A lot of signatures.
It truly does. It truly does. But then I'm not sure what would that mean. Again, we as supporters, we can talk about the game and we can see how we see it. But then managers can't do that. Like, for example, Tuchel already been charged by the FA for the comment that he made about the referee. So I think it is what it is. We take the point. We saw who should have won that game. We saw the quality that we showed. We take the positive from the game and we move on.
Yeah, I think you summed up quite well there. I mean, Chelsea dominated. Spurs scored. They took advantage of their chances. They were assisted by a referee, but at the end of the day, game's a game.
But at the same time, even though this hurts me so much saying it, but I think Tottenham improved a lot compared to last season. Last season, I think in 19 days times or 12 days time, not sure, we beat them 3 times with the Carabao Cup, 2 legs, and the 1 Premier League games. We beat them 3 times. I think it was we scored all the goals.
Notes.
I think it was 9 goals scored by us, and they didn't score a single goal. So compared to that, 6 months later, Antonio Conte putting down his philosophy in the team, trying to get his style of football ongoing in the team. I think they made quite a lot of progress, and I think this season we also with the transfer they had, the players they brought in, they strengthened the squad depth, and I think this season Tottenham is a team to be looked out for.
Absolutely.
It can't be disrespected as we used to do it. Like we used to call them the bottlers. They always mess up one or another. But I think with Antonio Conte as a manager, they're gonna be a serious team to take on.
Absolutely, I think both teams will be up there. Maybe not for a title challenge, but they'll be up there 100%.
For sure.
But it's good to see but 2 quality teams go at it, because it did make for a very entertaining game, and it was top-notch Premier League game. So it's good to see, and that fight between Conte and Tuchel was just as entertaining.
That was
the handshake at the end. The handshake at the end had me giggling.
Honestly speaking, Antonio Conte, I lost a bit of respect that I used to have for him. the way
Really?
that he celebrated the equalizer against us for the first goal was a bit too much in my opinion.
But
The way that
he's that guy. He's over dramatic with his celebrations. He's a passionate
no, he always
individual.
is, and that's something that I used to like about him, like his energy, his passion for football. Like you can visually see it. But then the
Yeah.
way that he celebrated on Tuchel's face as if he won
A
something.
bit disrespectful, isn't it?
Yeah, but then then after that, then the handshake got heated up. Tuchel got upset that he didn't look in because Antonio Conte didn't look Tuchel in the eyes when he was giving a handshake. Apparently, it comes across rude in Germany. I think it's everywhere else as well. When you give a handshake, you have to look in the eyes. If you don't, then it's a sign of lack of respect.
It's
Exactly,
not a
it's not
sincere
sincere.
handshake. But anyway, that's enough of the Chelsea and Tottenham game. Entertaining game as always. On to the final game, final Big Six game of the weekend, and that was Liverpool and Fulham. Okay, this game was a good viewing.
Let me correct you. It's not Liverpool, Fulham, Liverpool and Crystal Palace.
apologies, running on very little sleep. But yeah, Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Liverpool played Fulham last week, but again, this week it was a 1-1 draw. Darwin Núñez with a red card. What are your thoughts on the game?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Liverpool are missing this season. Both games.
I'll tell you what they're missing. They're missing a good midfield. They're missing creativity in their midfield. They're missing a player like Coutinho. They're missing a player like Eriksen. They haven't got the creativity that they would have had without Thiago. And it was an issue that should have been addressed at the start of the season. They should have had a backup with someone like Thiago. But now they have players like Fabinho, Henderson, Milner. Keita is out. He's always out. He's injury prone. So I just didn't understand from Klopp here was why didn't he sign an additional midfielder? Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is out. He would have been a good option, but as you can hear, like they've not got much options. Very thin midfield. They got very good attack, very good defense, but in midfield they're missing that oomph, that player that can just create something out of nothing. That player is normally Thiago, but without him, I feel like they don't have a like-for-like replacement. And he should have addressed it, Klopp, and he hasn't. And he's paying the price because 2 games in, 2 draws. For a team like Liverpool, who are always almost perfect, you have to be almost perfect if you are to beat City to the title. And we saw that last season. Liverpool were almost perfect. And guess what? They still didn't win. Why? Because enough. City are a team who win 30 games every season without fail. And to compete with a team like that, you have to be almost perfect. And this start will definitely not help them. I'm not saying they're out of the title challenge. Absolutely, they aren't. They can.
It's too early. Yeah.
Of course, they have the ability to string 20 wins in a row. But it's a concern for me. What do you think the problem is? Because my opinion on it, as I said, is the midfield. But do you think there's any other department that should be of concern for Liverpool? Is it maybe just, what is it? Is it tactics? What is it? What do you think?
Like in the last game, Klopp was complaining about the pitch being too dry, but this time around he can't use the excuse because the game is played at Anfield. But I think overall the team lacked sharpness. Yesterday, Trent as well, couple of shots in goal, he missed very badly.
Núñez was very missed.
Salah's playing average game as well. Haven't seen much from him as well. I think yesterday Diaz was the one that saved the game for them with that goal after they went down to 10 men. But I think overall they keep possession. I think Crystal Palace, they played a very good game, but I must say Crystal Palace goal came out of nowhere. Again, it was a high line from Liverpool, and one long ball and they threw, and then Zaha had the composure to finish the goal. But I'm not sure. I think Liverpool altogether, they need to get their things together. They're missing something.
Let's comment on Liverpool's newest number 9, the replacement for Mane. We saw that he had a very
I wouldn't say
a terrible game, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it's a replacement for Mane, is it? Because Mane is a left wing.
He's not, but He's not, but if we like Mane left and they signed Nunes to
Of
essentially
course, yeah,
replace him, not a like
yeah,
for like replacement, but a
yeah,
replacement in attack. But we saw yesterday he had quite a few chances. Like he had, I don't know if you've noticed, but he just scuffs his shots. He doesn't seem like a natural striker to me. He's not good at shooting, which is what you would expect from a striker. I've seen, okay, he had that very good goal against Fulham, fair enough. It was a very instinctive kind of flick. But
yeah,
the more I see of him, he's one of those players that would miss 3 chances and score one,
yeah,
3 or 4 chances. And I don't know, he's missed quite a few sitters. And to top it off, the Uruguayan in him came through and he headbutted Anderson, I believe, who was taunting him all game, and it got to his head. And it's looking like Luis Suarez, but without the techers. He's looking like a Luis
yeah, yeah.
Suarez without the techers.
It was
Same
truly like that.
troublesome
Yeah.
Uruguayan without the same sort of ability. In my opinion, he's nowhere near as good as Suarez.
I think, yeah, but at the same time, you have to consider that he's still very young. He still has
Of
many,
course,
many years
of
ahead
course.
of him. And this is the Premier League. That's something you have to consider, that where nothing is easy here. Everything is a much harder compared to the
High
other
level, more
high
intense.
level, compared to the other leagues as well. Exactly. So I think he needs time to adapt. I think once he adapts, I think you will see a good part of him, because Liverpool is a team that does not go out there and
Of
splash
course.
80 million on someone that um, they don't see quality on him. So I
Okay.
think it's just a matter of time, but I think it's still early days, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think Liverpool, not very good start from them this season, but then again, 36 more games to play for, so it's all up for grab.
Okay. So you think they'll be in the title challenge even despite the
I think
poor
for sure.
start? Here's a
I think
question
for
I'll offer to you. If they draw against United, which is kind of possible, do you think they'll still be in the running for the title, even after?
I think yes. I think yes, because you have to consider last season. Last season, I think at December last season, we told that all right, City gonna win it, no chance for any other team to catch them up. But then what happened in the game? Liverpool start winning games in a row, and then everything went to the last game of the season, isn't it? So
Mm,
I would say anything is possible. I'm not saying that City might not be as consistent they are right now. They started the season very strongly, but later on they could fall out as well with injuries, with COVID. So yeah, it's better to take game by game and see how it goes. But again, for sure, I wouldn't rule out Liverpool just as of yet with 3 draws if they draw against United.
yeah, I definitely agree with you. Liverpool, they're a titan of a team, and they have Klopp at the helm, which is one of the best managers in the world. So I think they'll be in the running.
Yeah.
But yeah, that concludes our weekend recap. Second week running, consistent.
I
Look
mean,
at
is
us,
it
football fresh.
is on a Tuesday, but yeah, we will try to keep it consistent.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. But
yeah,
that's
once a
been
week.
us, football freshies. That's been my colleague Safin Ahmed, an absolutely amazing colleague, and it's been football freshies. Peace out.
See you to the next one.